Welcome everyone. In this lesson I'm going to be designing a character. I'm going to do a 3-position turnaround, so starting with the side view. So I went out here. So what I was looking for was combining some kind of an animal or two with some human qualities, and I really like foxes and I like rabbits also, so I like the foxtail, rabbit ears, and some of the other qualities of their faces, the lengthiness of the body. So in thinking about my character, I want it to be a little bit on the timid side, clever, which is where the fox kind of comes in, and it can also be brave when it needs to and defend itself. It's going to have some magical qualities to it as well, which is sort of why I brought in the rabbit. Then I went over here and I did another search and I put in Deer Druid. This is a character I love. Somebody did turn this into a 3D character and did an awesome job, and wanted just some little variations with it. Maybe not quite so much game oriented, but I like a lot of these qualities here. So in looking at this, I use this as a inspiration point to start doing my drawings. All right, so over here in Photoshop, I just have a basic setup right here. It's 11 by 14 setup, 300 DPI. And I'm just using a pressure sensitive brush here, hard round pressure with opacity and flow. And you will get this if you're working with a Cintiq. And just coming over here and thinking about, what it is what kind of shapes really inspire me. So I'm just going to add a layer here. That's my layer 1 is my background color. So I'm going to just be drawing on top of that. So the first thing I'm going to do is just lay in a ground. I'm going to hold shift down and just draw across here. And this is my ground. Okay, and then from there I'm going to just add another layer and just start working with some shapes. So over here I think I'm going to work with a side view. So the thing I love about the fox is this big tail, right? Big fluffy tail. And it's going to be really exaggerated. Okay. Okay, and then how does this look when it attaches to the body? So what does the body look like? So I like the kind of lanky look of a character, so I'm going to kind of make it sort of thin up here, and then I think I want the legs to kind of round out like this. Okay, so I'm not really looking at anatomy so much right now. I'm just looking at shape language and kind of the shapes that are inspiring me. And again, I'm kind of pushing this out here, thinking about some harder edges. And then I can always come back in and say, yeah, that was a little bit off right here. Let me erase that right here. And I've got this setting really, really low here. Let's crank that up and get a little bit different brush in here. Okay, there we go. That's working better. Okay, and back here to my brush. So already I'm looking at this thinking I don't really have enough room here for the type of leg I want. So I'm just going to hold Control down and arrow up. All right, so what kind of foot do I want? The rabbit foot, if we went with that, it would kind of come out here sort of long. And that's not really what I'm going for. I want something a little bit more compact and interesting. I'm going to turn on my history right here and just back it up to nudge right here. So maybe I'm going to add in a third animal, and that third animal is going to be a deer. And this way I can have something that looks kind of like a hoof, goes in there like that, and then does something like this. Okay, and I'm still not sure if I'm going to angle it like this, but I'm going to just erase this for right now, clean this up a little bit. All right. And I'm still trying to figure out what the back is going to look like. Okay, it will have clothes, so and I might just run that together right there. All right, so let's think about the head now. So I want the back of the neck to kind of swoop up into this head that turns into this sort of shape here like this. So I like these sort of combination of curves with a hard edge or coming to points. So I'm trying to capture some of that. All right, so that's starting to look nice. It's kind of what I'm going for here. And then maybe the chest kind of comes out like this. Maybe this is going to end up being a little tuft of hair or something. All right, and I'm going to actually add another layer here because as I start working on the ears, I'm probably going to change my mind quite a few times here. So the first idea I have is putting like fox ears on here, but making them really exaggerated. Okay, again, just looking at shapes. All right, so I'm going to turn that one off. I'm going to put on another layer here and take a look at it if it had some rabbit ears. So the rabbit ears, it's going to have some antlers coming off of it. So I don't want that to compete too much. And I feel like this is already competing with my large tail here. But it definitely reads as a rabbit now. So maybe what I need to do is work on the tail. So what I'm going to do is just grab the tail here like this and grab this right here. So I'm just holding shift down to grab this area. Going back to my layer 2, which is where I have it. And I'm going to just do a cut. And then I'm going to hold shift down and I'm going to paste it. So it's going to paste right back in place onto a new layer. So now I can shut that off. All right, so now I've got a little bit more flexibility here. So I'm going to add another layer in here and just try working with a different tail here. So and you can see I'm starting to add some of the harder edges here as it turns. So I might want some bends here and then some peaks where they the form turns. Okay, and then back up to the rabbit ear here. So I'm going to add another one. I'm going to take this one, and you can take the opacity down here like I'm doing, and it sort of works as tracing paper. So I've got that underneath there, and now I'm going to try to come up here and just maybe figure out something a little bit different. So something like this. All right, so I'm liking a lot of these shapes here, and I like the small nose. I think if the nose protruded out anymore, it would again start competing with some of my other shapes here. All right, so the arms. I'm gonna kind of work on the arm shape here. So a lot of times what I'll do is just come in and create an opening of where the arm socket's going to be, and then I'll come over here and take that shape. I can also copy and paste that over here if I want it to be perfectly accurate. And then I want to just think about what that arm is going to look like. So is it going to be thin and then do something like this? Is it going to kind of open up into some larger fingers here? And you know, you can spend forever working on hands and trying to figure them out. And I actually don't care for how I did the fingers, so I'm gonna come over here and just erase that. I'm gonna erase all of that right here. And come back here. So this would be the upper, and then this is my elbow right here, the joint. And I'm just drawing a line across it as an indicator. And then from here, I want to start figuring out like what exactly is going on. So I'm not really too concerned about the functionality or the absolute style of this. I'm just kind of drawing in some building blocks and shapes here and working my way down to what will be the hand. And then I need to kind of come in here and decide, is it going to be 3 fingers or 4 fingers and a thumb? And I don't think I know yet. I'm actually going to just stick with this right here. I think that looks okay. And I'm going to redo that. Make this look more like a wrap. Okay, and I may bulk it up even more than this here. But for now, I'm going to just stick with this shape right here and move on. So with this, I can now move it. So I can come over here and just switch over to elliptical and take this out here. Just using the arrow key, and I didn't quite get that big enough, so let's do that. And I'm going to do cut, shift. So it's control shift and command if you're on a Mac. And then V will paste it back in the same place on a new layer. So I'm going to just turn that off and go back to the arm right here. So we've got arm. And then just grabbing this little piece right here, deleting it, and grabbing the whole arm right here, picking this up and sliding it over. All right, and then I can hit Control T and rotate this. So if I want to see the arm coming out a little bit, I can do that. I can scale it as well. So if I hold Shift down, it will scale uniformly. Okay, so if I give it really big arms, they're going to kind of stick down like that. And I'm going to back it up a little bit now and hit Enter. Okay, so my elliptical's a little bit off. I'm just going to clean that up now and go to my eraser and take that out. All right, so I'm pretty good with that. So let's move on here. I'm going to go to the face now and work on the eyes. So this is typically what I do here. I kind of go for the really simple eye like this. And then what I might do is come in here and add some kind of painting around here. And then go with a little bit lighter color. So I'm actually just going to take the opacity down here and scale my brush up. So the brackets will scale up and down. You can see up here in the corner, and I'm just bracketing up and down, so it's a lot faster than going up there and pulling that. So I'm just filling this in here. And then moving on to antlers. So let's make a little bit more space here. So let's see if we've got some space. I don't, so I'm going to actually have to make the canvas larger. So I'm going to go under Image, Canvas, and right now the height is 11, so I'm just going to make it 14, and I'm going to push it in this direction here, I think. Okay, so holding down Control and just the plus and minus keys will do this. All right, and then and then if you hold the spacebar down, you get the hand here, and you can move your around your canvas. Okay. All right. You can also open up navigation under Windows and have the navigator open here, and you can use this to also slide around. Okay, so that's also nice to have. All right, and just so many different types of antlers out here to kind of consider. There's even feathers right here. These are really kind of crazy looking antlers with some ribbon in them. Just a little too stylized for me. I like these, kind of more like a moose. And what else here? I didn't do an actual search for this. I'm just kind of scrolling here. These are a little bit more realistic looking. These are very stylized right here and cartoony. So I'm going to come back up here and just kind of look at this one again here, and just, I think I like the kind of busyness of this, that it really looks more like a small tree. Let's go ahead and add another layer here. So this is going to be the arm, or the antlers. So then there's, do the antlers go forward? Do they go back? Do they just go straight up? So these are things to consider. Let's see here. I'm going to move this down here and grab my history and just take those off right there. All right, move that back up. If I come over here and just kind of roughen the character here from the front view, I think I want them just kind of coming out like this, and then the character's eyes might be over here like this. So sometimes it's nice to go to a larger brush, and that too, you can just kind of work with shapes, not worry about your line quality. And then if I've got the ears kind of coming out like this, it just kind of helps me to sort of work through. And this what I'm drawing right here is just the kind of the top of the head. So I'm sort of drawing in planes right now, and sort of figuring out like how this is going to look from a front view here. And I haven't really even thought about like if he's going to have a round face or a long face, and I'm not even sure it's a he. It might be a she. Okay, and then these are probably going to be bigger. And I'm just sort of like drawing in the shape of the muzzle. I'm not going to actually put anything right here around. Well, I may later. I may with color. But just trying to figure out what it's going to look like here. And then sometimes from here, what I'll do is bring my brush size back down to somewhere around 7 or 8, or even a little bit finer, and get my opacity back up to 100. And then just come in here and see what some of this would look like. And get that out of the way. So if these are like little broken branches here, and then maybe they have some leaves growing off of them, like this. And then I like the base of them getting really kind of chunky. And then we can sort of see the bark growing up here. And maybe some rings in here. Yeah, so I think I like this over just more of a traditional antler. And what I'm going to do is, I should have made a separate layer for that and I didn't. I'm going to just try grabbing that here, and so it's just holding the shift key down, you can add. Okay, and then if I hold the control key down, you can see I'm cutting here, so I'm just kind of grabbing that and doing this. Control T will allow me to kind of rotate it and scale it. So this would be kind of moving it to the small side, and then enter there, and then I'm just arrowing to get these in place. You can also just grab it and move it around. All right, and then just a little cleanup on there to sort of check out what it looks like. All right, so I think it needs to go back a little and maybe up, and you can see the other pieces moving with it now. I'm just holding control down and using my arrows. I kind of like that little leaf right there sort of hanging over his brow. I might even exaggerate that, where he has this leaf that sort of hangs in front of his eye a little bit and sort of gets in the way or masks it a little bit. Stepping out here and looking at the character, and I'm gonna just grab the rest of this right here and cut, hold shift down, paste it, and get that onto a different layer right there. All right, so this is kind of my first step in terms of designing a character, and what I'm going to do next is probably come back and just start playing with proportions. I think I want to see some larger feet. The feet either need to get a lot smaller or a lot bigger, but right now they're just kind of at this in-between stage. And then I think the arms could even be pushed so they're even bigger. I'm still sort of uncertain about the tail versus the ears. So we'll come back in another lesson and take a look at that.